The day Maya walked into that boardroom, she was wearing a navy blazer, her hair pulled back, a calm expression on her face. Sitting around that conference table were 14 people. Investors. Department heads. Senior managers. And 3 of them were her aunts and uncles. The same people who had refused to hold her as a baby. The same people who said she would amount to nothing. The same people who told me, her mother, that I had made a mistake bringing her into this world. Maya sat down at the head of the table. She opened her folder. She looked up. And without a single word about the past, without one mention of what they had put us through, she said, "Good morning, everyone. Let's begin." I was watching through the glass window outside that room. And for the first time in 15 years, I allowed myself to cry. But not from pain. Never again from pain. Let me take you back to where this story really began. My name is Caroline. And 16 years ago I was 24 years old, living in Charlotte, North Carolina, working as a junior accountant at a mid-sized firm. I was the first person in my family to graduate college. The first to work in a professional office. My parents, Walter and Diane, were proud of me. My younger brother Tyler and my sister Melissa looked up to me. I was the family success story. And then I became pregnant. I was not married. The father of Marcus was someone I had dated for 8 months. He was kind at first. But the moment I told him about the pregnancy, I saw exactly who he was. He left within 2 weeks. No call. No letter. No support. Just gone. I was 24, alone, and pregnant. And I made my decision without hesitation. I was keeping my baby. I called my parents to tell them. There was a long silence on the phone. Then my father said, "Caroline, you have embarrassed this family." And that was just the beginning. My parents were deeply traditional. In their world, you got married first. Then you had children. In that exact order. No exceptions. An unmarried pregnant daughter was not something they knew how to handle with grace. My mother Diane cried for 3 days straight. My father Walter barely spoke to me for 2 months. But the worst was my extended family. My Aunt Patricia, my father's older sister, was the matriarch of the family. The one everyone listened to. The one who set the tone for how everyone else behaved. When Patricia spoke, the family moved. And Patricia decided, before my daughter was even born, that this child was a mistake. She said it openly at a family dinner that I was not invited to but heard about through my cousin Brandon, who still talked to me. She said, "Caroline chose this path. We don't have to support it. And we certainly don't have to pretend that child is one of ours." That child. Not even born yet. Already rejected. When Maya was born on a Tuesday morning in September, I was alone in that hospital room. No parents. No siblings. No family. Just me, a nurse named Sandra who held my hand, and the most perfect baby girl I had ever seen. I looked at Maya and I made her a promise. I will never let anyone make you feel like you are not enough. Not ever. I meant every word. But keeping that promise was harder than I ever imagined. For the first 3 years of Maya's life, my parents slowly came back around. Not fully. But enough. My mother would occasionally visit. Bring small gifts. Hold Maya awkwardly like she wasn't sure she was allowed to love her. My father would nod at Maya from across the room. Never picked her up. Never said her name directly. But they were there. Occasionally. The extended family, Patricia, her children, my other aunts and uncles, never came around. Maya grew up knowing there was a family that existed that did not want her. Children understand more than we think. When she was 5, she asked me, "Mommy, why don't I have Grandma and Grandpa like my friend Sophie does?" I told her, you have me. And that's a lot. She accepted that. For a while. The real pain came when she was 7. My cousin Jennifer, Patricia's daughter, had a daughter the same age as Maya. Her name was Lily. Lily had birthday parties with the whole family. Every holiday. Every summer gathering. Every photo on the mantle at Patricia's house. Maya was never invited. One Christmas, Maya was 8 years old, we drove past Patricia's house and saw all the cars outside. All the lights. All the family inside. Maya looked at the house from the car window. She said, "Is that where our family is?" I said, "We have our own family, baby." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I'm going to be really important one day, Mom. And then maybe they'll want to know me." She was 8 years old. 8 years old and already building something in her mind. A goal. A reason. A quiet, steady fire. I held her hand and said nothing. Because I believed her completely. I want to tell you about what the next 10 years looked like for us. Because it was not easy. And I want you to understand what Maya watched her mother do, because I believe it shaped everything she became. I worked at that accounting firm for 6 years. I got promoted twice. I saved every dollar I could. When Maya was 6, I started taking online business courses at night after she went to sleep. When Maya was 9, I started a small bookkeeping service on weekends, just 3 small business clients at first. When Maya was 11, I had 14 clients and I hired my first part-time assistant, a college student named Grace. When Maya was 13, I left my firm and ran my business full-time. By the time Maya was 15, my firm, Hartwell Financial Services, had 6 full-time employees and over 80 business clients across North Carolina. Maya watched all of it. She sat at my kitchen table while I was on calls. She saw me handle difficult clients with patience. She saw me lose a big account and rebuild without complaining. She saw me stay up until 2 a.m. and still make her breakfast in the morning. She never missed a day of school. Never got into trouble. Studied harder than any child I had ever seen. Her teachers called me every year without fail to tell me she was exceptional. Not just smart, exceptional. Leadership. Vision. Maturity beyond her years. At 16 she started her first project, a financial literacy program for students at her high school. At 17 she was accepted to UNC Kenan-Flagler Business School, one of the best business programs in the country, on a merit scholarship. I sat in my car in the parking lot of a grocery store and cried for 20 minutes when that letter came. Meanwhile, my family watched from a distance. And slowly, they started paying attention. It started small. My mother Diane started calling more regularly when Maya was around 14. Asking how she was doing. Sending birthday cards, finally, after years of nothing. My father Walter came to Maya's 8th grade graduation. Sat in the back. Didn't speak to her directly. But he came. And then the extended family started making moves. Aunt Patricia, the woman who had called my daughter that child before she was even born, sent me a Facebook message when Maya was 16. "I hear Maya is doing very well in school. Patricia." That was it. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just, "I hear she is doing well." I didn't respond. When Maya got into UNC, suddenly there were texts from cousins I hadn't heard from in years. "Congratulations to Maya. Wow, UNC. Your family must be so proud. Your family." As if they had been her family all along. I showed Maya some of the messages. She read them carefully. She handed my phone back. She said, "Mom. Let them come. It doesn't cost me anything to let them think they're welcome." I looked at my 18-year-old daughter. And I realized she already had a plan. I just didn't know yet how perfectly it was going to work. Maya graduated from UNC with honors at 22. She was recruited immediately by Meridian Capital Group, a private equity firm based in Charlotte. Within 2 years she was promoted to senior analyst. Within 4 years she was the youngest director in the firm's history. The financial press in Charlotte started writing about her. Young Charlotte native reshapes Meridian Capital. The 26-year-old director changing private equity. My phone was ringing constantly, but not from journalists. From family. Aunt Patricia called me personally for the first time in 15 years. Her voice was warm. Familiar. Like no time had passed at all. Caroline. I have been reading about Maya. I always knew that girl had something special. I sat very still. I said, "Did you, Patricia?" A pause. Family is everything, Caroline. I hope we can all get together soon. I said, "I'll mention it to Maya." What Patricia didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Meridian Capital had just acquired a controlling interest in a regional manufacturing company. A company called Greystone Industries. A company where my uncle Ronald, Patricia's husband, was VP of operations. And my cousin Derek was a senior manager. And my cousin Jennifer, Lily's mother, was head of HR. Maya had known this for 3 months. She had said nothing to me until the acquisition was complete. Then one evening she came to my house for dinner, sat across from me, and slid a folder across the table. I opened it. It was the Greystone acquisition paperwork. I looked up at her. She said, "Their new division head reports to me, Mom. Starting Monday." I put the folder down. I said, "Maya, did you know when you?" She smiled. I knew before I accepted the director role. Greystone was always part of the plan. 15 years. She had waited. She had worked. She had said nothing. And now she sat at the head of their table. The first all-hands leadership meeting after the acquisition was held on a Wednesday morning. Maya asked me to be there. Not inside, but outside. Watching through the glass. I stood in that hallway and I watched my daughter walk into that boardroom. Navy blazer. Hair back. Calm face. She sat down at the head of the table. Ronald was there. Derek was there. Jennifer was there. The same people who had never said Maya's name at Christmas. Who had filled their home with photos of Lily and left my daughter invisible for 15 years. They recognized her immediately. I watched Ronald's face go pale. I watched Jennifer look down at the table. Maya opened her folder. She looked up at the room. And she said, "Good morning, everyone. I'm Maya Hartwell, Division Director. For those I haven't met yet, I look forward to working with you. For those I have met before." She paused. Just for 1 second. I look forward to this new chapter. No revenge speech. No confrontation. No dramatics. Just those words. And that pause. Everyone in that room who knew her history understood exactly what she meant. I pressed my hand against the glass. And I cried the way you cry when something that hurt you for a very long time finally becomes something beautiful. After the meeting, Patricia called me that same afternoon. Her voice was different this time. Smaller. She said, "Caroline. Maya is remarkable." I said, "Yes. She always was." Silence. "Then, I want you to know. I have regrets." I let that sit for a moment. Then I said, "Patricia. Maya doesn't need your regrets. She never needed anything from any of you. She just needed me to believe in her. And I never stopped." I hung up. That evening Maya came over for dinner. We sat on my back porch in Charlotte as the sun went down. She was quiet for a while. Then she said, "Mom. You kept your promise. I looked at her. She said, "You told me in the hospital. I know you don't remember telling me. I was a baby, but you told me once that you made me a promise the day I was born. That you would never let anyone make me feel like I wasn't enough." I hadn't told her that story in years. I said, "How did you know?" She smiled. "Because I never once felt like I wasn't enough." "Not once, Mom." "That was you."